Hello everyone, Crash here, this is RTA Motorsports, and today we're gonna be watching a race that I just completed. This is the iRacing GT3 Regional Tour, the Americas one. We were over at Lime Rock in the Corvette Z06 GT3R. Now, just to kind of set the tone a little bit, I just got my rig back together. We just finished building it. We just finished moving. Well, we're still in the process of moving, but we just got the rig up and running, and I just did my first live stream after months of not racing the day before. Now, I did 3 races in this circuit here, not all of them in the Corvette, and there were very mixed results. And I just thought about overnight, how could I get faster, and all the little mistakes I was making here and there. And I knew I wanted to race again the next day. So I had time. I decided to race the next day, and my first race was not great. My first race was not great at all. I actually qualified P1, and then when I was going into the race, it actually kicked me out of the race session. It wouldn't let me join the race session. I had to exit the race, go back in, and by that point I was already a lap down. So when I finished that race, we did finish cleanly, but I was only, I think, maybe like P11. I moved up through the pack a little bit, but it was nothing to write home about, and I was actually still really frustrated. I decided to do one more race, and that's the race we're going to watch here. And just to start off, I'm not going to show the qualifying, but the qualifying, I didn't crash at all, but right at the end of each lap, I put a tire off. And if you know anything about iRacing, when you put a tire off, that is an abnormal lap, right? And because you got an off track, and it doesn't count that lap time. So we actually started this race P14, and my frustration level was at an 11. And I had no one else to blame but myself, but I was really, this was going to be my last race that I was going to have time to do. It was going to be the last time that I could prove to myself that I really can do it, and I shouldn't just start iRacing over from rookie class again. So hopefully you enjoy this, and you know, if this ever has happened to you, hopefully you could sympathize with me on this. But this race, we started P14 and had an amazing finish. I hope you all enjoy it. Here we go. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that race. This was an absolute incredible race, and I wanted to share it with you all. Not because of the fact that I won. Of course, I wanted to share that with you all because I don't get to win that often. But I felt like this was a real underdog story. It just showed with persistence and practice that you can come out on top. Now, some of the races that I had before this, again, if you didn't watch that live stream, I think it was my second race that we did. I crashed myself out in the very beginning, didn't take anyone else out. Finally got the car repaired, got out on track 7 minutes later, and then was taken out by someone who was in the middle of trying to rejoin in the race session and took me out there. So it was like a complete throwaway race, and my frustration level was through the roof. So just with persistence, eventually you'll get it. And I felt like this was mine. This was my underdog story, coming out from the back of the pack all the way to the front. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you ever been in a situation like this, remember just to not quit. Just keep going. You'll get it. As long as you don't completely kill your I rating or safety rating, kind of like I did. But we have a long comeback to try to get back to our A license again. And I think we're going to get it now that we have a good, stable system. I'm going to be doing a rig tour very soon, a new office tour. You could pretty much see 90% of the office here. It's really not that big of a deal, but I do have a new desk set up, and I feel like I do have a new setup just in general that I'm really proud of. So I can't wait to show you all kind of what we're working with now, and some of the things that I found that were leading to a lot of the issues that used to plague my system for years. I found a very surprising one. I did talk about it in the live stream, but I definitely want to share that with you all in case you have a very similar module that I do. It's a very common one for motion rigs, so I definitely want to talk to you all about that. It's not a Prosimu related module, so but yeah, we'll talk about that at a later time. But everyone, I'm Crash's RTA Motorsports. A lot more videos coming your way. Stay safe, stay happy. I'll catch you all next time.